back to my channel. Now I am really excited because this will be the first video in my series of 2019 Christmas DIYs. I'm going to be sharing with you how I put together this adorable little reindeer with some really simple supplies, Pringles cans, paper towel rolls, and a few supplies from the Dollar Tree. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, subscribe to my channel, turn on the little notifications bell so you're notified whenever a new video of mine posts. Alright, so let's get started on this DIY.
Okay, so let's go over some supplies that you're going to need to do this project. First, I picked up this premium fiber polyester fill. This came from Hobby Lobby. You get a huge bag for $2.99. It's something that I've had on hand because I use it a lot. Also, I'm going to be using one of these little picks from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to pull off a couple of the berries and a few of the pine cones and use that with my little reindeer. Then I'm going to use the sticks on two of these little Scarecrow guys that came from the dollar store. I don't know if I'll use the actual Scarecrow, but I definitely will use the sticks because I like the length for the legs of this project. Also, I have some jute twine here that I'm going to use a little bit for decorating. Now I also have these little wooden dowels that I found at the Dollar Tree. The only problem with these is they're a little bit short, but if you're going to make a baby reindeer, I was thinking I would use that in combination with these taller sticks from the Scarecrow for the legs, so I have two different size reindeers. Then I'm going to use some of this burlap 9-foot ribbon that came from Dollar Tree. I really love that chevron print. And I also have some of this thin red ribbon, which is going to look really nice in combination with the chevron. Now I'm going to be using one of these fleece scarves that I was so happy to find. Now a few supplies you'll have on hand is a paper towel roll and some Pringles cans, which I'm going to use for the body of our reindeer. Now I'm also going to be using some black glitter, and I'm going to use those on the antlers, which I'm going to actually make the antlers out of hot glue. So you want to make sure you have plenty of hot glue. I know Dollar Tree has the little packets of hot glue, which I picked up a few extras, and I have a pen, some scissors, and I have some parchment paper. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to make our antlers. Now this is really easy to do. Just make sure you have some hot glue and trace out just the shape of an antler on your parchment paper. It doesn't have to be perfect. Antlers aren't perfect. Actually, the more squiggly they are, the better they look. And then using your hot glue, you're going to just trace over that antler that you drew on your parchment paper. Make sure your hot glue is good and hot. It will make it much easier to trace. Now once your glue has hardened up and dried, you can peel it right off of your parchment paper and you have this really cute custom made antler for your little reindeer. Now I'm going to go ahead and make two of them, so I have two antlers for each reindeer. Now I want to add a little dimension to these antlers. That's why I'm going to use the black glitter. I also have a little bit of Mod Podge. I'm going to take a paintbrush and just brush a little bit of that Mod Podge over the ends of the antlers. And then I'm going to sprinkle some of that black glitter right on top of the Mod Podge, just so that it covers up a little bit of the antlers and gives it a little bit of dimension. I'm going to just tap off the excess glitter, and then that's what they look like. So pretty. And I'm going to set these aside to dry, and we're going to work on the rest of our reindeer. Alright, so now we're going to work on the body of our reindeer, and we're going to use a Pringles can, and I'm just going to quickly take a measure. I think it's about 9 inches. We want to add about 3 inches to that, so that means I'm going to cut out a piece of my fabric from my scarf. I want to cut out a 12-inch piece, and first what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the ends here so that I don't have this little fringe. So measure over your 12 inches, make a little mark, and that's where we're going to cut. I'm trying to be really conservative with this fabric only because I want to be able to get at least 2 reindeer out of 1 scarf. Now I'm going to take a strip of hot glue and just run it right down the edge of my Pringles can in a fairly straight line. And then we'll take that glue and line it up to the very edge of that fabric, making sure the Pringles can is lined up in the center, leaving about 1.5 inches fabric on each side, just like that. And then I'm going to place a couple more dots of hot glue right along the edges as I roll the glue into the fabric so the fabric stays in place. And then I'll do another strip of fabric just along the edge, and this is going to finish it up and keep everything all together. At the bottom of our can, we're going to put another ring of glue, just kind of dollop it in there like that, and we're going to press the fabric right down into that glue kind of in a pinwheel form, and that's gonna hold it all down along the back side. Go ahead and fill in any spots that are popping up. We're gonna leave the other side open, however, because that's gonna be the neck area. So now we're going to use our little paper towel piece for the head of our reindeer, and I'm just doing a quick measurement, and I'm going to divide this into 3 pieces, and we'll make a little mark, and then I'll just cut those pieces out, and I'm going to use 1 piece for each reindeer head. Alright, so now I'm going to measure out another strip of the fabric for my reindeer head and make a little mark. I think it ended up being about 6.5 inches that I wanted to use. Again, this is all just kind of personal preference, but what worked best for me. I'm going to cut a strip out the full width of the scarf. Then I took a little ball of my batting and made like a little round piece. I'm gonna hot glue this right to the top edge of my little paper towel ring here. I'm just gonna kind of stick that in place just like that. That's gonna be kind of like the top portion of the head, and then I'm gonna take a little bit more of that and kind of stuff it in the nose area, and that's gonna kind of give the shape of a nose a little bit better. Okay, so this is kind of important. You want to make sure you put your glue right along the top of the nose here. That's going to ensure that it holds that shape well, and you can tell that it's like the nose. And I'm going to place that right down, upside down into my fabric the long way and kind of just hold that in place. And then I'll wrap my fabric around the bottom of the head and glue that into place right there. Take a little bit of hot glue. Put it at the bottom, wrap that fabric around. You can kind of shove that batting back into place afterwards, but I'm going to kind of hold that there. And we're going to kind of do the same thing at the nose, wrap it around the nose and put a little bit of glue and hold that into place as well. Now this is going to give you the main basic shape of the reindeer head. So now we're going to take the sides of the reindeer head and kind of pull that under, which would be like the chin area. I don't know if you can tell yet, but it's kind of important that you do it this way. That way it's going to give you the best shape. And again, on the other side, we're going to put some glue. We're going to pull the side of that snout down underneath like the chin area. You can kind of see it starting to take shape here. And then we're going to take these corner pieces that are kind of just sticking out, and we're going to kind of pull them up underneath the bottom of the head or the base of the head, just so that makes a nicer shape. And we'll do that to both sides, holding all that fabric in place. And you can definitely see that it's looking more like a little reindeer head as we go along here. And then we're going to kind of do the same thing on these top pieces. We're going to just fold this little excess fabric down in, shoving in that batting that's underneath, and just kind of gluing that back down into place so it's giving more of a flush underside of the head. And we'll do that for both sides also. Alright, so I have my little head all glued into place. You can kind of see it has a nice little shape. Alright, so next we're going to work on the neck portion. I grabbed a little bit more of the batting, probably a couple handfuls, and I kind of shaped it into like an oblong shape. I'm going to use this in the fabric before I cut the fabric because I want to use as little as possible. So I'm just going to kind of roll that in the fabric and glue that fabric down into place, and then I'll go ahead and cut the excess off. Now, as you can see, I haven't glued the whole thing together on the back. I actually want to leave it open because this is going to be the portion that's going to glue to the front of the reindeer to form his neck. This is kind of the hardest part of this project, but as long as you have some nice hot glue, it shouldn't be too hard gluing this neck portion into place. So I started gluing the very bottom down first because I think that once that's being held into place, it's easier to glue the side pieces, which I am doing right now. So now we're going to start bending that neck portion up so it looks more like an actual reindeer neck, and we're going to take a little bit of the hot glue right on the top back center of what will be the neck and kind of hold that fabric, pinch it into place and hold it into that glue until it dries, and then we can kind of pull that side fabric into the glue just to kind of finish it off. Now keep in mind this is all going to be covered up with a scarf, but there you go, you can see the basic shape of the neck before we add the head on to our reindeer. Alright, so now I'm adding a little bit of glue at the base of the neck, and I'm going to pull this top piece right over my batting and pull it right down into that glue, hold it in place, and then kind of fold these side pieces over and glue those into place as well. I am tucking the corners into the batting, and I'm going to glue that in place just like that, just so that there's a nicer seam and so that the batting doesn't come out. This is what it should look like when you're all done gluing that neck portion on. But now what we're going to do is put some more hot glue again at the base of the neck and kind of fold this neck over to make kind of like a spot for the head to sit. So there you go, you can kind of see the head is going to sit on top of that neck area. So just put a little bit of glue at the base of the head, and we're going to put that right on top of that bent over neck. And our reindeer is looking good. Okay, so now I'm going to cut another really thin strip from my scarf. I just want maybe about an inch or so, just the width of the scarf. Then we're going to fold it in half and cut it into two pieces, and these are going to be the little pieces that we're going to fold into ears. Just something similar to this that we can glue onto the head. Alright, so I'm going to put a thin strip of glue just along the edge, and I'm going to fold this over. And then I'm going to take a little dollop of glue and put it on the end, and I'm going to fold again and make kind of like a little loop and hold that bottom of the ear into the glue, and that's what it's going to look like when we glue it to the actual reindeer head. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on my head and glue that little ear in place, and we're going to do the same thing for both ears. Alright, now we're going to glue our antlers to our little reindeer, and we're going to just take a little bit of glue and glue it right to the back side of the ears. We're going to glue on the side that we did the glitter for this one and kind of hold it right up against the ear just like that until it sets. And we're going to do the same thing with the other one, but we're going to put the glue not on this side, we're going to put it on the other side. Well, I have the glitter only on one side of my antlers, but you can do both sides if you're going to see both sides of the reindeer. Alright, so here he is. He's definitely looking more like a reindeer. Now we're going to start working on his feet. And for his feet, I'm going to use one of these wooden dowels that come in this little scarecrow. I'm just going to go ahead and pull that out, and this is what it looks like when it comes out. And I'm going to just measure off, I think I ended up doing about 7 or 8 inches for each one of the legs. Then I have some little clips. I just clipped the wood. It's pretty easy to clip. And then we're going to take these little wooden dowels. We're going to hot glue them right to the underside. So because the legs are kind of flimsy on their own, I ended up making a little bracket or a little brace that I placed at the bottom. And how I did that was I used a little popsicle stick, and then I just glued the legs to each one of the sides of the popsicle stick, just like I'm doing here. So I clipped the popsicle stick to about 2 inches using some clips, and once I got it to the size that I wanted, depending on how far apart I wanted the legs, I put a little dollop of glue on the underside of my reindeer and held that in place, and then again just placed some glue on the edges and glued each one of the legs to that little brace. Alright, so I took a pine cone off of my pick, and I'm going to just hot glue this onto the back side of my reindeer, and this is going to be my little reindeer's tail. And then I took some of that cute little burlap chevron ribbon. I cut a little fork in the end, and then I'm going to wrap it around the neck of my reindeer just so I know how much I want to cut off. I want it to kind of crisscross in the front of his neck like a scarf. So once you get the right size, then you can go ahead and cut another little fork in the other end. I'm going to place a little bit of hot glue right in between these two ribbons, and that's just going to hold it together so that it keeps its little shape in the front. Now I'm going to take that little fringe that I cut off, I'm going to stretch it out, and I'm going to tie it around his neck as well, just to kind of add a little extra. I like those little fringes, and also I'll clip a little bit of my greenery from my pick. I want 2 small pieces. And I will go ahead and add a little bit of hot glue and put these little greenery pieces right on his scarf or his little collar. Then I will add a couple of the little berries from that same pick right in front of the greenery. Alright, so now I'm going to make a little corded bow. I'm going to take my thin cording here, wrap it around my fingers quite a few times till I get the thickness that I want for the bow, which is about that thick. I'm going to clip the end off. Then I'm going to take a little piece of my red ribbon. I'm going to wrap that around the center of this grouping of cording that I have and put a little knot in that, or a little double knot in that, so it holds it together really well. And then this is going to create a little rustic bow that we're going to kind of glue on to the greenery on the side of our little reindeer here. And you can go ahead and trim those little pieces of ribbon just so that they're not hanging really long. And I'm also going to stick a little bit of that red berry right on the front of this bow as well. I think this is just so cute. You can fluff that up a little bit, glue it, put some glue on the back, and glue it right to the side of your reindeer also. Again, it just adds like a nice little rustic touch. Alright friends, so here he is, my final version of my little reindeer. I think he turned out really cute. I haven't made the small one yet, but I plan on doing that. Also, I don't have any other Christmas decorations up yet, which I will be doing that this week. But I hope you enjoyed this DIY. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the little notifications bell so you're notified whenever I post a new video. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and take care.